Yes, it is. So we'll start with that there. And so you're able to see the PowerPoint, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so basic photo editing. And there we go. Marilyn, who's not here, she had a question about file management. So as you can tell, I got busy in the last week or so. Our daughter-in-law has had another baby, so we had the grandkids with us for a few days. So basically, where I was going with this is when you're storing your images, it's best to do it on an external hard drive instead of in the computer. If your computer blows up or craps out for any reason, you can take your external hard drive with you. It's always best to have another backup as well. So if you have a second external drive, or there's always cloud options, and they vary in price. Myself, I use a external hard drive. It's a 5 terabyte drive that I have, and then I had another old one that that I back up from that. So I actually have 2 copies of each one that I keep on the computer. Another option you could have is a home server, and you could back things up that way. Some people say it's best if you take one of your external hard drives and lock it in the safe or keep it out of your house. But we're getting into things now that maybe professional photographers would do, as opposed to just people like us that just keep them on our computer. But I do keep mine on an external hard drive. I'm backed up to a second one. For what reason, I don't know, because I'm never going to look at all these pictures again. So
it is a good idea. We had some pictures of like kids and dogs and stuff over the years, and
yeah,
didn't back them up, and they're long gone. The computer crapped out. So
yeah, I learned the hard way too. I had a laptop and an external hard drive I had plugged into the laptop. The dog jumped on the bed because I was being lazy, laying there looking at pictures, and the external hard drive fell off the bed, and I lost everything.
oh,
And that included a big trip that we had done to New York City, Washington, Philadelphia, Toronto. So I lost a lot. And
and yet the dog still lives.
the
Good for you.
dog is still with us at 16 years old. Yeah. Um, so
so Mark, are you using a solid state external drive?
no. And you could, but
Oh, I do now. I didn't realize that the other cheaper ones have moving parts and they don't last.
no, but solid state will also crash as well.
Yeah.
So either way, you could still lose your stuff, whether it be solid state or just the like you say, the one with the moving parts. I do have solid state ones, and they're not as big for storage reasons because they're so expensive. But yeah, I do have them. I tend not to use them. So let's talk a bit about apps. So you're going to edit your images, and there's different types. You can get paid apps. You could get them on a subscription basis, perpetual license, which means you own that copy. Subscription is where you pay a monthly fee until you cancel. Some of the companies that you get a subscription from will say if you cancel within a year, you will owe them a cancellation fee as well. You can get creative add-ons for a fee, depending on which program you decide to buy for your imaging. I the thing with as far as the difference goes and which is better. For example, Adobe is a subscription based, so you pay monthly. You can buy things that will be similar to the Adobe product, and it will be perpetual. So you pay up front. You can pay quite a bit. You could pay, anywhere from $100 to $500, say, for a perpetual license. But these companies will still. An example is Luminar. Luminar will say, "Oh yeah, you can get our Luminar AI. It's going to cost you $200 and something," and then they come up with an update to it, but you've still got yours, and they will not include it. They'll give you that new version for a discounted price, but you're still paying either way, basically. So if you want to do the Adobe subscription or some of the others that do offer subscriptions, it's six of one, half dozen of the other, really. You can I had a look into Microsoft, and I looked at my son's MacBook, and there's so many apps on there. You can get paid ones or you can get free ones. You got to be careful with some of the free ones. They're a free trial, and then you pay. I'd heard about one the other day, and I went on there, and man, it was expensive. It's called Polar, I think, with 2 R's at the end. And so I signed up just to have a look at it, and they gave me, I don't know, a couple hundred free edits I could do, or 1,000 free edits. But then after that, it's 5 cents for every time you edit an image on there, and it's web-based too. So that's not an option for me. That's too expensive. There's also mobile apps. So if you prefer working on your iPad, or you're away from home, or you only have a tablet and you don't have a PC, you could use mobile apps to edit your photos. So me, for example, if we're on vacation, I will have my iPad with me. I'm with Fujifilm for my camera, and Fujifilm have an app, as do most others. Sony, I know, have I think it's IEDT or something. I don't have the Sony camera anymore. And then you could upload your images to your iPad or tablet and edit them on there. Lightroom is available for those devices. My favorite one is Snapseed. It's made by Google, and it's totally free. It's quick and easy to use. And if your camera is old, or it didn't come with an app to upload those, you can get adapters that will go from your iPad or tablet to an SD card and upload the SD card that way. So like I said, I'll do it on vacation. My wife wants to see the pictures. She wants to share them on her Facebook. That's a great way to do it as well. Camera manufacturer apps, I've looked at some of those, and the ones that I looked at for Olympus, Canon, I think I looked at the Sony one. They're geared towards the RAW file. So if you are shooting JPEG and not the RAW file, they won't even do anything for you. So not really not really a great option unless you're shooting RAW, and then I think they would work fine. I tried to use the Canon one and the Olympus one, and they wouldn't let me because they're specific to their own RAW files, and I don't have any Canon RAW files because I shoot Fuji. I said there's the free apps you can get online. Some of them will work web-based only, and some you can download to your desktop and use that way. And there's some that are preloaded on your computer, such as I think the Apple one is Apple Photos, and it's just called Photos or something like that on the PC. Okay, there we go. So here's some examples of what you could be paying. So the Adobe Creative Cloud for photographers ranges from about $13 to $25 a month for a subscription. So that means you're paying every month until you cancel, and they'll probably make you sign up for a minimum 12 months. With that, you would get Lightroom Classic, which is the more powerful of the two Lightrooms on there. Photoshop, you get Photoshop on iPad and Lightroom for iPad, phone, whatever. Lightroom for the web, just to work off the web as opposed to working on your desktop. Adobe Portfolio, you'd get some cloud storage. So for the $13, you're looking at the 20 gigabytes per month, or 20 gigabytes, sorry, and 1 terabyte for the 25 per month. Adobe Express, Adobe Stock. Chances are that you probably won't even use these things. Camera Raw you may use. I don't think I put Adobe Bridge on there. It comes with it too. It's more of a for file management. The Express ones are for creating. I use them on our Facebook page for creating like posters and things like that. But really, Lightroom and Photoshop are the two. Well, Lightroom Classic and Photoshop are the two that I would use. And I'm horrible at Photoshop, but since they brought AI in, it's pretty easy with some of the things to do. Photoshop Elements is the one that I couldn't remember the name of the last screen. Pricing US dollars, about 70 or 100 if it's in a bundle with Premiere Elements, which is a video one. Not a big fan, to be honest, but it can be pretty simple. Doesn't always give you the results you're probably looking for, though, in its simplicity. Topaz is a company that came out with a while back. They had 3 different apps: Gigapixel AI, Denoise AI, and Sharpen AI. And so Gigapixel, what it does is it will take a small file image and you can blow it up to a larger file size. And it does work. My son had a cell phone picture that wasn't even in a JPEG. It was that HEIF, the HEIF, high efficiency image capture, whatever that stands for. And he wanted to put it on a canvas for his girlfriend for Christmas. The quality was horrible, so he gave it to me, and I was able to blow it up and put it on a 12x16 canvas for him to give to her for Christmas. The Denoise and Sharpen AI have now been canceled, so they no longer support those. I would think the Gigapixel will go the same way as well. They're now part of Photo AI, so Photo AI will denoise, sharpen, and expand in the same way Gigapixel does. So realistically, if you have Photo AI, you do not need the others. These are perpetual, so you buy them. However, next time Photo AI version 3 or whatever the next one is comes out, they're going to want you to buy it again, but they will give you a reduced rate if you already owned the other one. Video AI, of course, is video. Affinity Photo, it's also a perpetual one. I've had Affinity Photo for a number of years, and they update me for free, and I've never had to pay them any more money. So I found that weird. They did come out with Affinity Designer and Publisher. Affinity Photo, by the way, is almost like a replica of Photoshop. And so it's a good option for that. I've never used Designer or Publisher. I would assume Publisher is more for making like magazine covers, posters, things like that. Say Designer, sounds similar, but Affinity Photo is an alternative for Adobe Photoshop. I don't know what their AI stuff is right now, but back when I was using it, it was pretty well the same as Photoshop. DxO is another big name out there, $229 for that. On one $100 perpetual. They're very similar to Lightroom. Capture One is another one that's similar to Lightroom. You can pay up front $426, or you can pay $22 a month subscription for it. It's a powerful program. It does the job well. Personally, I've tried it and I had it, and I went back to Lightroom. It was just personal preference. Cyberlink make numerous programs, and they're reasonable in price. $100 for their perpetual, or you can get a $40 a year subscription. InPixio and Luminar are two more. Luminar Neo is the latest. AI was the previous one to that. So, like I said, with Luminar, they said at first they didn't have the subscription. At first, they said, "Yeah, buy Luminar, whatever they had at that time." And then they came out with another one. So instead of giving you free updates, they gave you updates for a certain period. Then they changed the name of it and said, "Oh, you should buy this one." So you buy that one, and then you'll get a few updates, and then it went to AI, and now it's Neo. So they, yeah, they kind of got you. Like I said, it's 6 one, half dozen the other. They're gonna get you to pay. So through the Microsoft or Apple Store, you can get the paid or free apps. There's pro apps available on there. So instead of going to Adobe, you could buy Lightroom through those stores as well. I think, for my way of thinking, I would go to Adobe directly instead of through Apple or Microsoft. The free apps, you got to be careful. You might have watermarks, or there may be advertising on there. Or you might find they're free to download and then pay for a full version. You might get so many images you can do, and then you have to pay, or you might get a watermark and then they say, "Well, pay us this and we'll take that off," kind of thing. Mobile apps, there's quite a few on there. Lightroom, Affinity from the other one. Luminar is now on a mobile app. On one, Capture One. So the big names are all on there. So like I said, there's a bazillion of them on there. Snapseed, for what I want out of a mobile app, Snapseed works great, and it's absolutely free. The camera manufacturer apps, yeah, Image, so there's the IED, the Imaging Edge Desktop. Canon's is called Digital Photo Professional. Olympus is OM Workspace. Nikon is NX Studio. If you're interested in these, I do have the links, and I can share them on an email when I send out the PDF and the recorded version of this. So if you guys want the links to these websites, so you bought a camera from these, and I use these 4 camera links because that's what we had in our last session for brands of cameras. So you do have free apps from the camera manufacturer available to you, but again, they are geared towards raw images. Free apps, they're free to use online. Are online apps safe? Maybe. I try not to use online apps. I don't see why they wouldn't be. I guess if you're paying for them, then there's a possibility that, maybe their database would get hijacked or something like that. I'm not sure, but as far as you just doing your images, I think you're fairly safe. Bill from the club there uses Darktable and GIMP. I can't remember what that stands for. Graphic Image Manipulation Program. Whoa.
Ooh.
And Photopea, which is it looks exactly like what Photoshop used to look like. Yeah, only it's free, but it's online. It has ads. Your 2 built preloaded when you buy your computer. So back when we did the basic photography, we had the RAW and the JPEG, the pros and cons of each. So again, most editing software is made with raw images in mind, because that's where you're working with all the full data from the image you've created. And if you remember, we talked about the JPEG is the camera is taking that image that you've taken and it is throwing away what it thinks you don't need and creating a better image for you, a smaller file size, but you cannot get that data back that that was in that JPEG, that was in the RAW originally. So JPEG, it could be fine for your needs. You might be happy and need nothing more than straight out of camera just for your images. But the camera might not always get it right. Or you might want to add some creativity or flair. You might want to brighten something up, or maybe add some saturation to make your image pop a little more than what you're getting straight out of the camera. JPEGs do deteriorate if they're edited. You're taking away a little bit more and they don't get it back, where the raw image maintains the data. You can edit a raw file and save it as a JPEG, so when you're finished doing your editing of the raw, you can save it, and by saving it as a JPEG, it's going to be a smaller file size than your original raw file. So talking about that file management again for a minute, a question could be, do you save your raw files and your JPEGs? Do you save just the raw? Do you save the JPEG? Probably if I was a professional, I'd save both. I'm not. I usually, if I know I'm not going to go back and edit anymore, I just want to look at these things or print them occasionally, I'll just save them as a JPEG and then discard the raw, because they're taking up a lot of space on the hard drive too. No, I won't throw them away. I've still got, we went to Maui in January and I've still got the raw images from Maui. I haven't quite finished with them yet. I think maybe one day I'll go back and maybe re-edit or whatever. So, but generally I only keep the JPEG, smaller file size. I've already edited them. I know I'm not going to edit them again. So for me, that's safe just to keep those. So let's say this is a raw image of a hamburger, and that's what the camera took, and it's the raw image, and then the camera decides, well, okay, we're gonna decide what this guy wants to see for his hamburger, and it does that. Now this is, of course, it's a big exaggeration, but it's taken what it thought you wanted to see and kept that and discarded the rest of it. You can edit your burger from the raw file and brighten it up so it looks a lot better like that. Or if you want to really get creative with your raw file, you could add a nice sunset and double your burgers. Is that a bad example?
Burger.
Yeah, okay. So basic editing tools, doesn't matter what, which of those apps you're going to use. They're all going to have very similar tools. They may call them something different. Basically, the first thing you should do is crop and straighten. So maybe not, that's just straighten for sure. Crop, you might not see something until you've done the rest of your editing, and then you might say, well, if I crop it in a certain way, I change the perspective of what the picture is. So you could crop after, I guess, too. The exposure, your brightness, it's a good place to start, because some apps provide a histogram, and if you remember in the basic photography, the histogram there, you've got the darks to the left and the whites to the right. So it's going to show your distribution of the tones, and by using your exposure sliders or buttons, whatever's on the app you're using, you can remove some of that darkness, or if it's too bright. The contrast is the difference between the darks and lights in the picture. So you can either soften or darken the contrast in there. So it says here, raw files tend to suffer from limited contrast, so it makes sense to find your contrast slider, increase it till you get the result that you're looking for. And keeping in mind with all this stuff, like I said in that basic photo course, you're doing this for yourself more than doing it for anybody else. This is what catches your eye. This is what looks good to you. Don't worry about will people like this, because you're the one that has to like it. You're going to see it all the time, not other people. So that's the way I look at it as well. Do I like the way this is edited? I had a picture of my wife and my one grandson, and they were at the Cross Iron Mills food court, and I was sitting kind of across from them, and I could see he was telling her a story about something. So she's looking at him, he's got his hands going, and he's telling this story. And so I cropped it to what I felt I liked. And I actually posted it on a social media thing, and people say, oh, you should have cropped that tighter, you should be doing that. And I thought, oh no, that's not what I was going for. I was going for this look to tell the story I want to tell. So again, it's got to be for you first, I think. White balance. So your camera, we talked about that before. You could use your auto white balance on your camera, or you could pick, you know, the daytime or the fluorescent or the incandescent, whatever options you want. But you can also change it in a lot of these apps, and then, you know, maybe you wanted a little warmer or a little brighter than what it came out when you're looking on your computer, so you can change that. Some apps I noticed don't have white balance, they have tint, so you can mess around with the tint control as well. The highlights and the shadows, so they adjust the details in the brightest areas. And adjusting the shadows will adjust the detail in the darkest areas. So highlights bright, shadows dark. Vibrance and saturation. So saturation is the intensity of the colors in your image. If you boost it, you really run into the risk of oversaturating, and it can make your image pop. But if you go too far, it doesn't look great either. If the app that you're using offers vibrance, it's more subtle. I use vibrance. I tend not to use much for saturation, and I'm happy with the look I get out of that. But not all apps will have it, so you might want to just touch the saturation just a little bit as well. Color calibration. So this is if you're getting your images printed, so say you're going down to McBain and you've edited the image on your computer, but then you get the print back and you think, man, this isn't what I was seeing. And you'll find that your computer screen obviously is a lot brighter than the paper that you're printing to. So the screen's colors are similar to TVs, where it's RGB, red, green, blue. And you can get calibrating tools that will help you set the correct point. You can also, if your monitor allows, and you can set different settings in your monitor. I know mine is an LG and it does have settings, so you can set some of the things in there and determine the coolness of the whites. And so if you're printing, it suggests a white point of 5,000 degrees Kelvin. Some monitors though will not tell you what that is, unfortunately. I have a calibration tool. I'd love to say that it works fantastic. I don't think it does, because I still print sometimes and it's dark. So I've got this thing, and every couple of months I will try to calibrate my monitor to make sure that it's what it says it's supposed to be. Oh, that's it right there. The Datacolor Spider X. So the way that works is that part that's got the Datacolor Spider X on it, it goes on the front of your monitor. No, sorry, it goes in the back. The other goes in the front, so they counterbalance. You stick it in the middle of your screen, and it comes with a program, and it will test all the colors on there, and then it will give you a slider and tell you to adjust as per its calibration, and you get within a certain degree, and it says you're okay. So we'll get into the demonstration. Like I said, it's not going to be too intense. So we'll start with Microsoft's Photo. It comes free with the PC, and it's similar to the Photos app on a Mac. We'll do Google Photos. Google is an online editor. It does RAW or JPEGs. It's part of your Google account. So if you've signed up for a Gmail account, automatically you can access Google Photos. You got 15 gigabytes of free storage, and you can edit right on Google in the cloud there. Adobe Photoshop Elements. Mine is an old version, so it's 5 years old. Yeah, I bought it 5 years ago. I don't know if the newer ones are any different. I tried it. I wasn't a fan of it. And yeah, so then Lightroom, I'll show you what Lightroom, some of the basic stuff in Lightroom, and how some of the things in Lightroom we can do that we couldn't do, say, with the top couple up there, and how much more powerful it is. So now I'll try to, let's see if I can bring this up. Do you guys see a plane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Like I said, these aren't great pictures. So this would have been a little over a week ago. I went to pick my parents up from the airport, and I was going to take pictures of their plane coming in for landing, and I was using a zoom lens, and I accidentally slipped when I was holding my camera. I don't use a neck strap, I use a wrist strap, and the white balance setting, something went wrong basically. So I ended up with this pink sky, and obviously that's not the look I was going for. So this is if you can see that my mouse is going up to the top there, the first one on the left, and it says you can edit image. So that automatically opens, and this is the very basic, this is the Microsoft one. And so it now opens up that image, and you can see at the top, crop has got a blue underline, and I can crop that, and it's set to a freestyle right now. So I could crop all over the place and it will accept it. I can change that by at the bottom here, it says free. I've gone from free, and I've got all these other options on there. So for example, if you have an iPhone, their standard photograph is 4:3. And if I change it, that's what it would be. And if I want to edit, say, an iPhone picture, and I want it to be the same as the ones out of my camera, I can go to the 3:2. If I really wanted to, I could do a panel or whatever out of these, but 3:2 is the basic one. I usually stay with the original, so I would go over here and I click on original if I'm going to edit that. Then I just click on done. This here with these little dots, that's your angle. So if you're like me and you've got a crooked head, that will help you straighten your subject. I don't need to in this one now. Then we go over to the adjustment bar. So Microsoft I've got a message up in the top right saying it's unable to save my raw photo in its original format. So if I edit this and I want to save it, I have to save it as a JPEG, which I'm fine with because I'll be done editing it anyway. So my exposure, and usually the way these companies lay this out is that's their recommendation as far as the order that you should go in when you're editing something. But in this case, because I have a pink sky, there's no white balance here, so I'm just going to drop the tint. And it was a gray, cloudy, rainy day, so I'm not going to get much better than that. So all I've done is I've dropped that tint down from the pink sky down to a gray sky. And that to me has got more of my natural colors in it. Now, the exposure one, I mean, it's either going to darken or it's going to brighten. Obviously, that's way too much, right? I don't think there's much I need to do on that one. I can add a bit of contrast because, again, it is a raw file. If I take the contrast out, it looks like it's foggy. I could overdo it, and the plane is darker than the sky. So I'm just going to add a little bit of contrast. And then your highlights and shadows. Usually I drop the highlights and I raise the shadows. In some instances, I would, if I'm trying to get more of that plane out, I could also drop the shadows a bit, and that darkens it up. That there, obviously, I'm going the wrong way. So I always tend to go down, and I tend to go up a little bit depending on the picture. For that there. Vignette, I'm not into adding vignettes. If you can, with most, you can go one way and you're going to get a white vignette. The other way, you're going to get a dark vignette. I don't use them. If I wanted that plane a little sharper, I could add a little bit there. This app comes with filters. This is a poor example of an image for these. I'll get out of my way there. If this was you'll see on the next picture. This is I could change the way it looks just with certain filters on there. I won't for this one. Now you can also see my lens was dirty down here. So I can hit the erase tool and you can change your brush size. So that's pretty good right there. It's taking care of that. So all I did was I used the 60. I could have gone bigger, but it's not very good, right? It's not a very good tool on Microsoft's behalf. I can make it bigger, and it's still kind of splotchy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. I'm going to crop this picture. I've already told it I want 3x2. I'm going to get by that. There, no more dot. It's gone. And that would be my final on Microsoft. So you can see that's pretty simple. If I'm looking at how the image was before, if I hit reset, it improved it. So it's better than straight out of camera. And that's really what you're looking for in an editing program is it better than the original? And I would say yes for that one. I'm going to open another, if I can find it. Get rid of that. Oh, that's our next photo up. There we go. Okay, so this here is another one. It's kind of dark. This is the same program that we're using. So again, I'll go to the edit, and I don't really feel that I need to straighten that. The horizon looks pretty good to me, so I will leave that as is. If I decide to crop it, I am going to right now, one of the things I try to do at the beginning is I'll make sure I keep my 3:2, or I know that's what it shot, so I can keep the original and done. So if I do decide to crop, it's not going to go all over the place on me. And then I'll go to my adjustment tool, and again, I can start messing, and it's the same drill over again, where I can, I want kind of a bit of mood in that sky. I can contrast it a bit. You see, by putting my contrast up, I'm losing some of that fence. So you gotta really be careful. I can bring the highlights down again. Brings back some of these clouds and the shadows up a little bit to try and bring out a bit of the trees. I'll boost the saturation up a little bit to try and bring a bit of the green out of the trees. It's bringing a bit of the blue from up here as well. And it's a sunset, so I want to try and add a bit of warmth to it. If it wasn't, you know, I mean, there's the other way. Too much blue, of course, but so I want to add a little bit of warmth in that to try and get some of the sun into the clouds there. Sharpness, I don't think it'll do much. Now I can go to the filters. Like I said, this one's a better idea. If I hit punch, it's garbage. Golden is a little better. Radiate, see what it's doing. So this is why I don't like some of these apps. Golden, I like the clouds in that, and then you use another one and it's taken what I liked in the clouds out of it. Warm contrast, it's too dark down here. So it's a free app. It's better than it was before. But it does have its limitations. Okay. So let's get rid of let's get rid of Microsoft and let's try Google. So can you see the plane again?
Aye.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here we are. Google Photos, the same two photos. We'll go back to the plane. So up in the top right, we have, it's telling us it's a RAW file, so it will do RAW and JPEGs. The three little bars there is our edit. So we can open the edit. And it's also going to give us options, single click options. So we can enhance it. It's trying to fix my sky for me, like that. We can dynamic, oh, some of my pink's coming back in. Or we can go warm and cool. The warm one kind of is where we're going, really. We could leave it on that. There's my crop and adjustment, just like we had on Microsoft. You know, I could crop it. See, we've got the 0 degrees and whatever if we're gonna tilt it because of my tilted head. And over here we've got the freeform, the original, which we'd leave it as is for my liking, and all the same options that we had in Microsoft's version. We go over to here to the effects. Again, these guys do not have a white balance, but you can see what some of these sliders have moved. This is because we chose that option there. So if I don't know how to get that. Oh, I click it. There, it's gone now. We've gone back to the original. Now they're all back to the 0. So if you do pick one of these, and it changes it, you'll see how they've moved along here as well. Okay. So I'll take that off. We'll go back there. HDR is high dynamic range. You can do it in camera where you will take 3 images of different levels, and then the camera will blend them together to give you an HDR effect. Probably on this picture, it's going to do nothing. Yeah. So again, we just kind of mess with the same sliders as what you saw in Microsoft. It's basically the same. I'm not going to spend too much time here. We'll drop the shadows a bit, that a bit. What we do have here is black point and white point. I don't think those were in the others. Usually black point. Again, I'm going by, there we go. So I've enhanced the engines a little bit there. The tint will get rid of that pink sky. We have no skin tone. If we want to make it pop, you can see what this pop is doing is it's kind of giving you more detail in there, and sharpening basically is what it's doing. Vignette, again, no thanks. So then on this, I'm going to do the same as I did with the other one. I've already told it 3x2 only, and there, and that's Google's version of that same image that we have. And similar thing with this one. Bring down. We're gonna get the same choices again. Now, in my opinion, by clicking on these filters compared to the Microsoft ones, these ones already look better. I don't like that one. It's darkened that poor kid up. You can't really see him. But again, we'll take that off. We'll go there. I'm going to pick the original because that's what I like. And same thing. We can brighten it up a bit. Change the contrast a little there. White point. I'll drop the highlights, bring the shadows up. Be careful with that one. Add a bit of saturation. I want to try and get, my goal is to try and get some over here, but this app isn't letting me do that. It's strictly basics. And again, it's free. I can add a bit of warmth to it, brings it a little bit more. The tint's either going to give me blues or greens more, but you know, that way's giving me some blues, this way's giving me some greens. I don't like either. And I'll try and make it pop a bit. Still not the result me personally would want, but better than the original. It's helped my sky. You still can't really see too much of that island, but that's not a big deal. This isn't as green as I would like it, and these clouds aren't as dark as I would like them. But that's the best I can do with that app. Again, it's pretty basic. And it will improve something that you're not happy with straight out of camera. All right. Let's go to the one that I really don't like. I'm not going to do the plain one anymore. We'll just do this one. This is Photoshop. Somebody help me. Photoshop. Anyway, it's Photoshop something, the $70 one. And your options at the top here, we've got a quick edit, guided, or expert. Okay. So quick, it's got some things over here. It's just going to guess at what you want. So I'm not happy with the exposure. I'm going to go like that. I can adjust this slider over here, or it's giving me 9 options where it will automatically do it. And if I'm happy with any of these, I just click it and just watch as I click that, my exposure's gone up 1. There's my original at 0. Let's decide 1. That one's dropped at -2. Okay, so I'd be happy with the 1. You can do it again with the lighting. This one gives you options for the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. So I don't know, I guess that one's okay. Midtones. See, now it's kind of getting ugly. I'll leave those alone. Maybe. There. Again, this is all personal preference. There's no right or wrong. What I'm showing you here is just the tools that they have. Whether this is horrible looking or looks great. That's I guess on me as the editor of this. And the same thing here. Like I said, you can do this yourself. And if you're using this slider, like I am here for that sharpen, if you look at these boxes below, the one that I'm coming closest to is going to highlight itself. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's highlighting blue. And it would be the same if I picked exposure. So yeah, I'm up a little bit, and it's picking that one there as the closest one to where I moved the slider. So it's pretty quick, pretty simple. Is it going to get you the what you're looking for? Maybe. Where's my revert? There we go. There's back to the original. Another option you have in it's not Photoshop Express, it's Photoshop. Oh man. You can tell I use it a lot, right? So this here, it's giving you some examples. And if you, this slider here, so on this enhanced color on the left side, you can see that's how the sky originally was. By sliding that, they're showing you what you could turn it into. Same with this. You want this camera effect with all the blurry before and after. Oh, I didn't want that. Oh, isn't that just great? Give me back that, please. How do I get back? Okay, let's go back to revert. Nope. Oh, I just blew that.
Hmm.
There we go. Okay, so back to guided. Same thing, you can remove a color cast or you can saturate your image more. They have all kinds of options. You can, if you like black and white, there's a way to do it. It's quick. You might be happy with it. You can do some fun edits where you can add different effects like cartoon drawings, double exposures, or you've got the get off of there, the expert version, which is a similar looking screen to the regular Photoshop. So here's our image again here. And we can enhance this by these tools over here. So these ones here we can use to crop, or there's the magic wand that will do something for us, what it thinks. You can use the smart brush tool here. And what we can do with this smart brush tool is I open that like that. And once I did at the bottom here, I've got different brush settings. So I can change the size of my brush. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. It's kind of in the sky right now, a circle. I change the brush size, it's going to go small, or I can make it bigger. And then I can paint the sky. So there we go. But just by dragging that paintbrush, like I did, Photoshop has determined that is what the sky is. I could inverse it down here, and that would do the rest of it as opposed to the sky. So now that I'm on the sky, I've got some options down here that I can change some presets here. I've got lighting, nature, photographic, all these different effects or textures. I can change the lighting. So you can see in these different images, I can darken the sky. So with one click right there, I just darkened. And you can see the dots going around. It's picked up the sky and it's darkened that for me. If I want to do the inverse, it should now, if I pick color. Oh, no, it didn't. Oh, because I didn't pick, there we go. I don't like it. In fact, I didn't do a very good job. Let's go back, revert. So there's back to our, so what I would do on this case is again, the smart brush tool. Pick my brush size. I can go like that, but I want to change this, obviously. We'll get that in there. So there's my sky coming back. Now I can take the brush again and I can paint over here now. Okay, so I painted that. So now I can change that and I can lighten that up. Oh, I left that. Sorry, I left that going. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to turn off the sky. But anyway, so what's happened over here on the right side? You can see this little eyeball and you can see this up here. So what's going on here? This is adding a layer on top of your photo. So there's your original background picture. I can turn that off. I can turn it back on. So it's lightened up the sky and it's darkened the sky. So this is another layer on top of your picture, and you can add multiple layers. So what this does is it's called non-destructive editing. It will add layers on top of your your image, and you're not doing anything to ruin your main background level. You, if you wish, you could duplicate your background level. There we go. So now I have background copy and background, and I have that brightness. I can move the brightness in between if I wanted to, or move that up. There we go. Nope, it's not letting me in this one. You can change the name of it. Rename it to number, I'll just put a 2 there if you want. So you can do all these edits by creating and there's create a new layer right there. So we've got a new layer, layer 1. We can change the name of that one as well. We call it number 3. And so we can do edits on this and paint something. And if we're not happy with it, with our paintbrush after, we can just simply delete it or turn it off. And by turning it off, when you create your final image, you will, those will not show up, whatever edits they were on there. You'll be stuck with whatever you selected. Like I said, I don't use it. I'm not a fan. It's got an eraser tool, so you could, erase some stuff if you want. Your brush sizes you can change like that. So I don't know, I think I gotta go down to, oops, sorry. It's popping. I got 2 monitors, and some of the stuff that I'm clicking on is showing up on my second monitor. No, it's not letting me. So anyway, that's so that's the first 2 I showed you were free. This one is going to cost you, let's say, $100. And you've got these tools over here. They tell you what they are. Gradient tool. So a gradient tool, you could separate off an area. Oh, that's garbage. I sure like the expensive versions better. So basically, if you do screw up like I just did, you can undo. Up there, I can undo the eraser. I can revert back to my original copy. I don't have to have any of their stuff. It is limited by what you can do over here. You've got your crop tool, same as the free ones. No restriction is the same as the free form. There's your photo ratio is the same as what you shot. 3x2 will be in there as well. Your 4x3 should be in there somewhere. Which is 4x3 is what, 8x6? No, 6x4. Anyway, my math's not working there. We can go to that one. And then finally, I will show you somewhere. Okay, so this is Lightroom Classic. I don't know how many of you have Lightroom or pay for Lightroom. You've got on the top row over here, library is your first option. So in my, see if I can bring that up right there. So do you guys see my file folder right now?
Yep.
Okay, so I have, this is my external hard drive. There's my pictures. These are people I do work for. I've got stuff sorted out. That's all different family events that we have. Different projects. So if I'm just going out like air show, or if I go to the Calgary airport, I've got one that says YYC down there, Westerner Days. I keep them in folders like that. When we go on trips, same thing. I put a year and where we went, and that's how I file all my images. Lightroom, if I go into the left side here, catalog, first of all, it's telling me I've got 36,468 pictures. Way too many. Folders, if I click that one, pictures, so you can see where it says pictures here. It's the same as what my hard drive is. So they're listed the same way, vacations and trips, they're all there the same way. Collections looks exactly the same. So when you're loading images into Lightroom, if you load them through collections, you put your original in your folder, like I showed you where mine are, and then I add them through collections in Lightroom, and I'm not interfering with the original image by doing it this way. So this one here that we've been working on is from our 2024 Maui trip taken with my XT5 camera. And I can see that, of course, through my collections folder. It also lets me, if I wanted, I could set up and send it directly to my Flickr account after I finish editing if I wanted to do that. But I don't. Second, over here we have the develop module. So that was the library one. We have develop, but also you can see along the bottom. That's optional. I have mine set to on. You can turn it off. That's all the pictures that are in that file, 2,550. Develop is where I would work on the image itself. Map. I can put on here, I could go to Hawaii and place it somewhere on their map. Oops. I got a long way to go. I don't know why we're bothering with this one. There we go. Okay, so I could put it here and see it's right there. Book I don't do. Book is for if you're making photo books. You can create them in Lightroom. You can create slideshows. What I like most about it compared to other paid ones is I can, because I have a 13:9 printer here, a 13:19 printer, I can print various sizes and I can create templates and I can set it all up in Lightroom and then print it on my 13:19 printer. And to me, that's really handy where on the Canon app that came with the printer, that's hard to do. So I'll go back to develop, and I've lost that picture because yeah, too busy with us. It was like 700 and something. Are we there yet? Oh, that's 1,000. That was a failed attempt at a panoramic. If you saw that picture there, I was scanning across and my camera stopped halfway and then picked up again. So there's a gap. That girl probably wondered what I was doing. We're close by here, as in this series. I wanted to use the same picture because I was going to do some other stuff to it. You can see I was just kind of messing around. Well, it must not be there. 9 something maybe. 78, 71. Yeah. Bear with me a sec here. Boy, I've really overshot this one. Now we're getting there. There we go. All right, so there's my original image, the same one that we were looking at before to have it edit the thing. So what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm gonna bring up the exposure just a little bit. Contrast. So I'm doing basically the same thing I was doing in the others. Bring that out. So I'm bringing in already this one has brought up more greens than the other one had. And I can drop those highlights right down and I'm getting some better sky out of that. The blacks in Lightroom, I can press my Alt key and you can see how my whole screen went white, and I can drag it until some of the image comes in. I know that's where my black point is. I can do the same on the white. Bring a bit of the white in there. Texture, if I boost that up a little bit. Same with clarity. Dehaze, I'll use vibrance, but I'm not going to touch the dehaze right now. Dehaze would add a fog or take more away. Or maybe I'll add a little bit there. So now what I can do with that, and I can click up the top here. So I've got a masking tool here, and I'll click on that masking tool, and I can either use a brush like in that other Photoshop program, or Lightroom will automatically detect the sky. So it's created the same as that other one. It's created a new layer with a mask layer, and it's done the sky all pink right now. So what I can do with that is I can use these sliders again on the exposure, bring up the contrast. And right now, all it's doing is it's affecting the sky only. The trees and everything are staying just the way they were. Don't have to do anything to them. But now my sky is showing more of my sunset than what it was before. I can do the other, I can go back and I can create a second mask if I wanted as well. I can just click new mask. I can select subject, and if I pick, I'm gonna wait, there we go. I can pick a green out and it will do the greens for me. I'm not going to do it because it doesn't need it. Now, another thing that I can do in Lightroom, and if you do things that, let me just turn that off. There we go. Go back to there. So there's my picture back. I've now added that sky. If I want, I could also remove things from the picture. So let's say, for example, I don't want this guy in my picture. I'll use my mouse and I'll just draw over him and I can remove him. Now, what Lightroom does, different than Photoshop, is you can see it's created another splotch, kind of like the splotch I just drew. And I can accept that. And now that kid's gone, and all it's done is it's replaced the thing that I had here with something that I had over here. But if I was to zoom in on that picture, I might notice that. But then again, I might not. Lightroom, Photoshop, they use other apps. Like I talked about that one called Photo AI. You can use Photo AI as a standalone item and edit just in that, or you can use it as an add-on to Lightroom. So same with Photoshop and Lightroom will work together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit. Now that I've got that edit done, I'm going to edit it in Photoshop. I'm going to wait for Photoshop to open. Come on, Photoshop. So already this is far more powerful than the free ones. But again, I'm paying for it. Okay, Photoshop is now opening. Because I got all these other things opening open, it's kind of taking a little bit here. Okay, so can you see a new screen now with the picture in there? Okay, can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this lasso tool here. And I'm gonna go around this fence and those stairs, I don't want those. And up here we have generative fill. So I'm gonna click on that. I'm gonna leave it blank. And just click on generate. So now it's working. So this is what the Photoshop AI is doing with images these days. You can see I didn't have to be too exact around that fence. I just looped around it. Photoshop has now taken away that fence and created something else for me if I didn't like that fence. And I could have done the same thing with that kid. I can put something over here. Circle right there. And I could put in boat and generate. And what this thing does is it gives you different options. 3 at a time. So if you do not like the boat that it's going to pick out for us, you can pick a different one. So there's 2 of 3. There's 3 of 3. And if I don't like it, I click generate again. It's going to generate 3 more boats. So is that cheating? Probably. But as I said before, creating the image for myself and not for anybody else, I would probably go for this image here without the boat, of course. But I prefer that to the fence. Also, in this here, you can see there's this white thing. I mean, we could take that thing out. Just draw around it. And don't pick anything up there. And generate, and that should just fill that bottom with some sky. So it's a pretty handy tool to have. And of course, those free ones aren't going to give you those options. And you can see now it's taking it out. And once I've finished with what I'm going to do with that there, all I have to do is I have to save it now. And then I can close out of my Photoshop. And my, yeah, okay, it's going slower than I want because, like I said, I've got all those apps still open. But essentially, I can do all that within Lightroom. I could take an image and use that photo AI, and I can sharpen it up. If it was a small cell phone image, I could make it larger. There's all kinds of options where you don't have those. Over on this side, I'll just pick a picture here. We have presets. A lot of people create them for free. Adobe give you some for yourself. And these are things that are already, oh, hurry up. There we go. Yeah, it's taking its time because I got so much stuff open. But anyway, you've got all these presets that people either create and you can download them or Adobe will give you. To me, presets are made to be a starting point. Somebody's preset isn't going to give you the exact look you're looking for. You know, I could go to that and yeah, see, that's, to me, that's too oversaturated. So somebody's created that as a color boost. The sky is definitely lit up for golden hour, but there's too much green in the trees. So I would probably go over these trees and bring that green down a little bit. But that's it. That's Lightroom Classic, and I just wanted to show you what you can get if you want to pay more money as opposed to those free ones. And that's the course for the evening. I'll bring back up. So the photo walk, I thought we could 2 weeks from tonight, weather depending, of course, we'll go the same time as we would a normal club meeting. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Maspatoon Park. There's a parking lot just where Kerrywood Drive goes into Oak Drive, and it's one of those outdoor gyms. And we could meet there at 6:45. We could walk along the trail, down the stairs, and that takes us along the river. There's some wetlands in there, some ponds. There's probably going to be some wildlife in there. At least ducks and geese and other birds. Last time I was down there, there's some deer down there. We got the river to shoot. Lots of options if we go down there. So I will also send out an email on this to all CAPS members. We'll invite whoever wants to come. I think for the last one, there's about 10 of us went through Ken Canyon. It was a fun time. To walk this trail without taking pictures to get to the end is about 20 minutes. So if you factor both ways, 40 minutes, and then taking pictures for 30, an hour and a quarter, hour and a half, we'd be done 8:30 and then home. So hopefully that sounds good to everybody, and we can see you there. And that's it.
Very good. Thanks, Mark.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
All right. Thanks
Thanks
for
a lot.
thanks for sticking around.
Hey, that's great.
Okay, Marilyn, did you catch the how my photos were laid out?
No, not quite. It took me about 5 minutes to sign on.
Okay, because I did in the Lightroom thing, I did kind of touch on it too, but I can show you my hierarchy of how I do it anyway.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, let me I'll just share that again. Okay, so what I've got is an external hard drive. It's
Okay.
a lot safer to save on your external drive as it is on your computer. In case your computer crashes, you might not be able to recover that data. So what I've
Okay.
got is my photo drive G. I also have local up there, which has the pictures folder in it as well. And yeah, some of my CAPS ones, if I put them in there so I don't enter the same one twice. These are people that I do some work for. But I've essentially got 3 folders here as my top line folder, and then I save them by events. So these are different family events or different, things we do, like with my grandkids, for example. I click on Peter, I got every year another subfolder in there. Different, just going around 3 Mile Bend, Gates Lake, things like that. I just keep in a folder under miscellaneous projects. Vacations and trips, going back to 2002, I've got stuff on here. And we go to the mountains or anything, I just keep them in a folder. And because I'm a Lightroom user, I can see them in Lightroom laid out exactly the same way as this. And if I want to find something fast, this is the best way to do it. And the hardest part about this is when I'm out taking pictures and I come and I upload them to my computer. The hardest part is remembering to do the backup from my other drive as well. So if I forget and this drive crashes today, I won't have everything in that one. I'm actually looking at software right now, thinking of getting something that will automatic backup. And I think that's going to be my way to go. So I've just actually the people that made my server, they have a free one, so I'm going to try it and see if it works. And then that way it will automatically back up my photo drive to another drive as well, because it's safer to have that. Technically, for professionals, they say keep your second drive not even in the same house. And, you know, so it's if your house catches on fire and you lose everything, then at least you'll have that. But I don't know if that helps you or not, but that's how I store my images.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so I think that's it, and I will send this out, and I will send out a PDF of the presentation and the recording of this once it's done.
Right on. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Yeah, night, Mark.
Night.